Peace, family, friends. Water Bearing Lion here to give you some more information to ponder upon. And this time it's about sexuality. Males are approximately 60% masculine and 40% feminine, while females are 60% feminine and 40% masculine. Humans are hybrids of mammalian and reptilian DNA. Reptilian DNA makes humans more androgynous and naturally bisexual. But most of the world is ashamed of this. People may not realize, but bisexuality does have its place energetically. Bisexuality is balanced and centered in the pineal gland of the superconscious mind. Kanda recognizes that both are equal. When I say Kanda, I mean the Heavenly Council, or the Most High. Recognizing that both sexes are equal. Due to society programming, heterosexuality is promoted to hide from humans the true state of their sexuality. Bisexuality is desired for those who have access to true knowledge. Heterosexuality is based all in the left brain conscious mind. Such people tend to be materialistic, egotistical, and self-centered, leading to rape and abuse of self and others, as well as a type of schizophrenia, which some adults may have difficulty handling that. Homosexuality is centered in the right brain, subconscious, without balance, and could also be considered a type of schizophrenia. Homosexuality occurs for several reasons. Often, the soul personality had many consecutive linear lifetimes in one gender, so it has an affinity to a particular sex based on a soul memory. The soul personality may also choose to incarnate in the opposite sex to help create inner balance. Also, homosexuality can also stem from childhood imprinting of sexual abuse, where the person is imprinted with the idea that sexual pleasure can only come from one particular gender. However, not all abuse is sexual. If it were perpetrated by a male upon a female, the female develops a hatred towards the men and becomes lesbian, and vice versa for males. Peace, family, friends. Water Bearing Lion here. And I'm finna get into the holy trinities of sexual relationships. Let's begin. The Holy Trinity is love, intimacy, and trust. While each of these qualities can be present in every sexual relationship, they can also be mutually exclusive. You can love someone, but not be physically or emotionally intimate with them, or even trust them. You can be physically or emotionally intimate with someone, but not love or trust them. You can trust someone and not be physically or emotionally intimate or love them. So, most people with failed sexual relationships have these issues: fear and lack of trust, which I have went over in other videos of mine on my page on TikTok. Go check them out. In most modern sexual relationships, whether casual or committed, the desired trinity is rarely complete, which is love, intimacy, and trust. The majority of sexual relationships consist of physical intimacy and sometimes even borderline trust, but no real emotional intimacy or love. Most people do not know what love is. In many families, love translates to control, manipulation, and fear. The unholy trinities. So most people grow up believing that close personal relationships must contain elements of the latter trinity must contain control, manipulation, and fear, which the unholy trinity of relationships is normal for most people, but dooms a sexual relationship to failure before it even begins. Now, some relationships combine the holy and unholy trinities together to make a divine sexogram of love, intimacy, trust, fear, control, and manipulation. Giving you all of them in one relationship or sexual relationship can sometimes confuse a person, or sometimes make a person obsessed if you're getting the love, the intimacy, the trust, the control, the manipulation, and the fear. That can really make a person obsessed and give them obsessive personalities. Love is neutral energy that comes from Kanda, Heavenly Council, and your ancestors, and it does not discriminate, because it is not only energy that exists in Kanda, Heavenly Council, or your ancestors. Contrary to what people believe or know, love is not always enough, and that's true. It isn't. For many people think that if they simply love their enemies, everything will change. Overstand and understand that it is the mind pattern that attracts the enemy in the first place. Energy must be applied and directed by mind. For you can love unconditionally, or you can love someone to death. Both concepts use the same energy, but with different applications and implications. So most people do not truly love all parts of themselves. Therefore, they cannot love all parts of anyone else. For people who do not understand what love is, find their sexual experiences unfulfilling. And that is true. Majority of the time. For the modern days, most people equate having many sex partners as love, but physical intimacy is not love, and these experiences will always be unfulfilling at the deepest levels of yourself, which is also true. For love is not based on quantity, it's based on quality, which all of us have to learn, understand, and overstand. There are many layers of love. However, unconditional love is the purest and deepest form. To accept all aspects of your partner on all levels, which in turn means accepting all aspects of yourself on all levels as well. For love is letting your oversoul verify existence, meaning you allow and accept the unconditional love of your oversoul, Heavenly Council, Kanda, and ancestors on all levels, in all of your existences. Peace. Peace, family, friends. Water Bearing Lion here. And I'm about to go over another major red flag in relationships, which will be fear. Let's begin. Fear is a factor in most relationships. Most people fear that their partner would leave them either willingly or through a health crisis. Fear, or what most women and men would know it as a scarcity mindset. People are always on guard, waiting for the moment when something terrible happens to destroy their perceived happiness. And also, people with a scarcity mindset or fear that their partner will find them physically unattractive and undesirable, as well as mentally and emotionally lacking, which most are anyway, because they haven't done the work to heal themselves of their trauma. And now, because fear feeds itself, small fears often grow out of proportion, causing people to act irrationally and from an unbalanced, unhealthy mental and emotional perspective. Once fear or those with a scarcity mindset takes root in a relationship, the next step is to do something about it, which is usually in a negative way. And it always happens in a negative way, which will lead to control and manipulation, which the next video will be on manipulation. And that's the second red flag in a relationship. One of the three major red flags in a relationship. This is Water Bearing Lion here, once again to give you information to ponder upon. Peace. Peace, family, friends. Water Bearing Lion here, and I'm finna go over one of the three major relationship red flags. Alright, let's begin. Now, one of the three major red flags in relationship is control. Because control is the first method a man or a woman will try in a relationship. Because women and men think if they can control someone, they can control the relationship or force a relationship. Basically saying desperate men and women would rather have something than nothing, basically. Settling is what they doing. Even if that something is truly not divine or meant for you. And see, women and men with this state of mind believe by them controlling the relationship, it liberates and enhances the relationship. Like, that's some narcissistic thinking. Very low vibrational thinking and character traits. In reality, they're restricting and suffocating the person and the relationship. And trust me, I've experienced it before, so I know what I'm talking about. And many of you have too, but probably in denial. If men and women must use control to hold on to a person or relationship, then you need to question why you want the relationship in the beginning. Usually, you want it out of primal instincts or survival or fear. Basically lacking the self-worth and self-esteem due to societies and others that are probably close to you, perception of you, projecting upon you. Thinking so low of themselves or yourself that you or them must control the love that's received and or given. When actuality, the need to control perceives the lack of control a person actually has. Rather than working on one's own traumatic issues, you'll rather work on someone else's, which is very crazy to me. It's just insane. You have to work on yourself first before you work on anyone else. I mean, how would you be able to fix anyone if you didn't even fix yourself? And being in such a relationship, many will know it makes it insane, vicious cycle with no way off or repairing. Which is why selfishness is the number one destroyer of all relationships. Attempting to change the ways of your brother, sister, friend, or mate without their consent is number two. Should live and let live by accepting them as they are. Water Bearing Lion here. Peace. Peace, family, friends. Water Bearing Lion here. And I'm finna go over the third major relationship red flag, which is manipulation or manipulators. Let's begin. So, manipulation is next after control has been established within a relationship. Men and women who manipulate don't even consciously realize that they are manipulators, which is very true. Because women and men like that are able to justify in their own mind why they do what they do in a relationship to keep the relationship. So thinking is for the partner, friend, or family member's own good, when actually such low vibrational way of being due to past traumas only harms or hurts both people involved. Men and women manipulators will set up a particular set of circumstances, events, and situations by their words and or even through gifts and money. Men and women manipulators are always people who feel that manipulating is the only way that they can get others to love them, but also using the other two major red flags, which is control and fear. So know that emotions and feelings expressed by men and women manipulators are not unconditional love. More than likely is sympathy, empathy, guilt, or greed for those looking for monetary gain. Remember, women and men manipulators are low vibrational people who haven't healed themselves enough to give out unconditional love nor feel it. To the men and women manipulators can't receive it. They can't receive it back through falsely established relationships, which they try to control because they want something out of it. So making the partner, friend, family member, or even a co-worker afraid of being alone or unsupported, which is the usual in a loveless union or in a union at that. So when a woman or man doesn't love another man or woman unconditionally, yet wants to be with them, that woman or man wanting to be in the relationship will play on the partner, friend, or family member's fear of the man or woman manipulator. When a woman or man don't trust another man or woman, they control their every move, so no one else can get the energy off of them or to them. Playing mental games make the partner, friend, or family member feel bad in their actions. Effectively, the woman or man manipulators become a handler, making decisions for the friend, partner, or family member. Which is why arrogance, ego, pride are the hindrance of great character development and maintenance, along with envy being a great destroyer of all relationships. So commanding silence and a firm grip on oneself, and with the help of a great friend, raise the level of your consciousness to a higher moral plane, liberating that low vibrational version of yourself and taking the next step to be a high vibrational being. Once again, this is Water Bearing Line here to give you some more information to help heal yourself and be aware of those low vibrational beings out there that you may have relationships with. Peace. Peace. Water Bearing Line here. Today, sex talk. Sexual intercourse, positions, and actions are extremely important. For example, kissing represents when the single-cell DNA material were exchanged by one cell injecting DNA into the other by simply brushing up against it. Kissing reenacts this by mouth-to-mouth fluid exchange. Also, when a male sucks on the nipple of a female, he is requesting nurturing energies to make him feel more physically secured. When the male nipples are sucked, it means that he is giving emotional and spiritual nurturing. When the woman is on her back during sex, this symbolic replay of the dominion of God over the physical body. So when the man wraps his arms and legs around her, this symbolizes his need to envelope physical reality and control all that is in front of him. While also the woman on her back wants to be wrapped completely in spiritual and creative energies that will spark something creative inside her. However, when the man is on his back and the woman on top, this symbolizes the female needs to be uplifted by the spiritual side only for the sake of helping her cope with physical reality. Peace. Peace. Water Bearing Lion here. And we finna get into part 2 of Sex Talk. Let's begin. Semen is a rejuvenator of all body tissues and enhances psychic abilities. Swallowing semen is an imprinting of energy to be absorbed, as well a need to energize the physical body. Also can be a symbol of dominance. When oral sex is performed, there is a need to absorb creative power and rise above a situation in the mind. When cunnilingus is performed, there is a need to prepare the physical life for a new manifestation. The 69 position is an overall statement of the balance between the physical and the non-physical. The position, there is no possibility of creation. There is a merging and balancing of energies. When sex is performed with the female's legs on the shoulders of the male, it symbolizes that he is supporting her future burdens in life and wants to deeply be part of her, while the female seeks to relinquish control of her own future to God within. When the man enters the woman from behind vaginally, it symbolizes entering the creative force from the bottom layers of physical reality so that the manifestation can grow upward. Also indicates using the past as a foundation upon which to build the future. Male to male sex acts as a booster of energy. Females act as a transformer or oven for physical manifestation. Female to female sexual contact leads to greater absorption of energy before the female to male sex act. Bisexuality is balanced and centered in the pineal gland of the superconscious mind. Peace. Y'all don't even realize this whole Diddy case, humiliation ritual. Not only that, but it's a way that they revealed sexual magic rituals and sexual programming. I mean, you do know oil can be used for anointment, enhancing the sex magic ritual. And I can go into detail about his freak-offs, which are sexual magic rituals, another time. But also, Diddy didn't challenge the jurisdiction of the court. He didn't challenge the statute. He didn't challenge the facts of the case. However, he did challenge whether or not the accusation or charge meets the criteria of the statute or law or code. You wonder why they keep coming out with all these Jurassic Park movies? Jurassic World, Jurassic Dominion. There's a remote island that no one owns, with tribes on that island that are hostile to other men. But what else is on that island? Jurassic World? Jurassic Dominion? Anyway, you know that gangster movie, Belly? If you go back and watch that movie and pay attention to what the news anchor says on the little small TV in Keisha's room, they were already talking about fentanyl in 99. Let that sink in. Diddy's freak offs or sex magic rituals or sexual magic rituals. Have to understand sex magic rituals or sexual magic rituals are very ancient magical rites or rituals that was practiced on other planets of the humankind. Sexual magic rituals are a very powerful and intense ritual to perform. For at the moment of orgasm, that thought form that's projected with the orgasm manifested into physical reality. Think of it like a baby. So, Diddy's orgies, especially with the men, which are considered homosexual orgies, was practiced by the ancient Greeks and the Romans, which these homosexual orgies or these sexual magic rites with just males amplify spiritual thought forms. Hence, male to male orgasm reflects rather than absorbs and grounds. So, such rituals using all males are like sitting in the sun with an aluminum reflector. And remember, these magical sexual rites are used for manifestation, physical manifestation, or astral manifestation, which you can use this power to manipulate universes, time, weather, situations, etc. When Diddy uses hot oil or hot oil ceremonies are symbolic of the reptilian love of volcanoes and lava. Hot oil in ceremony represents the energetic connection of hot ejaculated semen to hot spewing magma. Or you remember when Diddy and Usher wrestled each other for the Frosted Flakes? I'm sure y'all remember that video. Usher looked very awkward in that video. And remember, him and Diddy wrestled for the Frosted Flakes when Usher was a teen. So the sexual ritual for when the males are wrestling nude with each other while oiled, the winner of the wrestling match then copulates with the waiting female who holds a high position in the ceremony hierarchy. This symbolizes the strongest or most energetic sperm successfully imprinting the step-up transformer. So during Diddy's and Usher's wrestling match, one of them lost. If Diddy lost a wrestling match to Usher, then Usher had to have sex with one of the hierarchies, with one of the females in the hierarchy, which probably could have been Chili, Mary J. Blige. Anyway, there's another version of the wrestling match. Let's say Usher lost the wrestling match to Diddy. Diddy gets to urinate on the loser, symbolizing that the loser is now the winner's slave. So now Usher is now Diddy's slave. And in some cases, if Usher had lost, Diddy would anally penetrate him to show the loser hierarchy status. In another way, meaning Usher would have to submit to him. Or if he gave him oral, his allegiance is to the winner. After doing some research and investigations on the self-proclaimed prophets or messiahs or people who think they can lead the black community, the Alonzo Bishops, Rashad Jamal, MLKs, Malcolm X's, Dr. Malachi York, Elijah Muhammad, Marcus Garvey's, Noble Drew Ali's, etc. Notice that all were sexual deviants of different levels of degrees of sexual deviance. All of them have been political prisoners or political pawns. They were good with the word, but lacked higher spiritual power or covenants to have universal effect or multi-dimensional effect. Because I don't hear or see any of them ever healing anybody. When what I mean is, has their touch ever healed anyone? Has their presence ever made anyone lucky or gave them good fortune? Did the words they speak to people actually heal them, make them change in an inner level? And best believe all of them or most of them use sexual magic rituals. Examples: Malachi York, Malcolm, Elijah Bishop. They knew what these sexual magic rituals would do for them. They didn't think about the others around them. And a lot of them manifested material gains. And a lot of them were in it for their own selfish reasons, even though they were giving the people the word. And not only that, but they were compromised, all of them. And what makes me different from them is that I'm not. And my purpose is not like theirs. Theirs was a selfish one. In a way, what I mean, selfish, just only our people. Even then, they were still leading our people astray. I teach people how to be high vibrational beings, authentically themselves. And my covenant with the Heavenly Council, not like others, for I manifest into this reality the best outcome for all, and pulling every version of myself from every other reality for the best outcome in this reality. I didn't ask for money. I didn't ask for eternal life. I asked for the best outcome for all in this reality. Sexual magic rituals. How was it exposed in the Diddy case? I had already talked about the all-male sex magic rituals that Diddy had performed. Now let's get into the one that involves the women. Now, when a woman is at these parties and she wants to level up, and even when they want to level up, they don't always level up. Anyway, the woman is drugged with every drug that she likes of her choosing. When she's in an unconscious state or docile state, the woman is positioned in the shape of a five-pointed star on the bed, the arms out to the side and legs spread apart. Y'all might have seen this in a lot of movies where women have been raped. Players Club. Each male would take turns having intercourse and projecting the same thought form. Basically, each man would take turn raping her while keeping the same thought. And after each man had made their rotation in her, then the female is made to climax to ground and anchor the energy of that sperm with associated thought form into the earth plane. So the men would gang rape, keeping the same thought form. And when they climax, they keep that same thought form. And that thought form and that energy is within the sperm. And then all that sperm with that energy and thought form within her, now it needs a exit. So she is made to climax to anchor that energy into physical reality. So it's like they all kept the thought of money in their mind as they was fucking. And to manifest that money into a physical reality, they all climax within the woman. So the woman can birth that money into physical reality. If that all makes sense. And in all cases, the male sperm must be ejaculated into the female's vagina for all physical manifestations. Which is why a lot of the people in the industry, it doesn't matter if it's Hollywood, I'm talking about all the woods in every country, they may have a sexual disease. Now, how can you identify people that are down with the freak-offs or who are sex slaves in the industry? Body piercings in specific positions on the body. Wherever there's a ring or implant on that specific position on the body, it enhances the chakra. Example, nipple rings, the heart chakra is always activated. A penile ring enhances the energy flow of the body, accentuating the orgasmic reactions and ceremonies. Also, tattoos can be a good identifier because whatever is permanently imprinted on the body, that frequency is sustained within you and around you. For example, if you had a tattoo of a demon or you had a tattoo of a tiger or a lion or something like that, that frequency, that energy is a part of you now. Because tattoos of animals on the body, it makes you easier to tap into that energy. Also, people that wear particular animal skins or headdresses, same thing implies. They're using those headdresses and skins to tap into the animal frequency. Those people that like to dress up and have sex, called furries. Anyway, a lot of the female sexual programming involves rape. Rape at least 3 times to make it a habit and make them okay with it. And that's with anything that you do. If you do it 3 times, that's a habit. It's a part of you now. Or you just been programmed. So a lot of women nowadays that have been raped don't even know they've been programmed. Been programmed with the energy of control and submission, or being overpowered. Not knowing this subconsciously is a part of you now. And it's going to be a part of everything that you do. And you don't even know that now the only way you can really accept something that is a part of you if you was raped. like with the so-called um, self-proclaimed messiahs and religious leaders or spiritual leaders. A lot of the occult leaders and spiritual leaders, Nature Boy, Malachi York, all those white occult leaders or spiritual leaders use sexual programming on the young females and old females and men alike. When they get girls, young women or women, to swallow or forced to swallow semen, this is a tag by the master, by the owner, by the handler, so that you remain loyal. For they are programmed to believe that ingesting the semen keeps them young and beautiful, which it does. Sometimes girls, young women, and women within these cults are often programmed to allow the semen of many males to be ejaculated upon them. If the men are high vibrational, this raises her frequency. Then when that's done, other males can have sex with her to speed up the process. Also, girls, young women, or women may be programmed to have sex with various animals or even alien creatures. Now, it can be an actual animal. It can be a person that embodies an animal or a person that embodies the alien creature. But this is desensitization to accept all types of sexual programming. Remember, rape and gang rape is a standard in sexual programming for both males and females. Rough sex with many individuals